Welcome everybody to Eat and Live Naturally. I'm RL Malpica, a natural health and diet specialist, and today we're gonna learn how the body communicates with you and how listening to your body can help you make better dietary choices. For everybody that's joining me live, welcome. If you are watching on replay, what's up to you as well? And if you are watching on replay, make sure you hit us with the hashtag replay. For all my people watching live on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button in your lower right hand corner so you can get more notifications of when I go live or when I do drop videos. So if you are interested in learning more about our natural diet, natural health and diet, detoxing, things of that nature, you'll be in tune with everything I have going on. Also, you can go to my website, theeatcoach.com, where I do offer programs as well as my E.A.T optimal scale to give you a dietary evaluation of where you're at. But today, like I said, we're going to learn about listening to our body, learn about how our body actually communicates with us and how that correlates with these dietary choices. But first, I need to put out a disclaimer. I am not a medical professional. I am not a doctor. I am a natural health and diet specialist and coach, and I am merely sharing my philosophies and experiences from the research that I have done and also applied in my everyday life. So, just got to say thank you for all the love you guys have been sharing with me while I've started this Eat and Live Naturally live sessions, as well as my YouTube channel and all of my social media there. I do appreciate all the support, and I'm merely here like sharing light with all of you for something that I'm extremely passionate about and just want to share with everybody, to be truthfully honest. And I love to be interactive, so feel free to chime in throughout this live. If you have any questions, comments, anything of the such, as well if you're watching on replay, I will definitely go back and respond to those or even bring them up in a further live. And I try to do this every Wednesday, 11:15 a.m. Central. So, but let's get into it, okay? Let's talk about this. And really, when we talk about the communication of our body, it's about that whole spectrum again. It's about understanding that everything, like nature, has an answer for everything. Every question that you have about life, nature has an answer, and this is just a part of it. And obviously, we look at everything from a very linear perspective. We look at everything from a mental, a mind perspective, to where we kind of submit when it comes to health, submit to the healthcare system, the medical system to give us the answers of what's going on with us. But what I'm diving into is how your body can give you those answers for you. And that's not, that's not a knock against the medical industry the way it is, the allopathic industry. This is just tools for yourself to really help you to make the correct choices in life, because you are built, you are a part of nature. And with that part, with that aspect, that symbiotic relationship you have with nature, like your answers are built in. Everything that happens externally starts within. And that's from a spiritual standpoint, that's from a mental standpoint, that's also from the physical, the body standpoint. So it really comes down to your five senses, right? And there's additional senses, I know that. And that plays a part of it as well. But today I'm going to talk about the physical. So I'm going to talk about, your five senses, the ones that you utilize 24/7 on a day-to-day basis, and how you can be aware of those senses to help you make the right choices. Because through conditioning, through constant propaganda, through, just programming, we have just been taught to eat certain things. And if we listen to our body, we'll be able to correct some of those bad habits and get on the path to a more healthy lifestyle. And really, when it comes to food, the most obvious sense is taste. So I'm going to dive into taste. Think about the first time you tasted alcohol, right? If you ever have. Some people have never tasted alcohol, and props to you for sure. But for those of us who have, think about the first time you tasted alcohol. What's the reaction that you received from your taste buds? What did your body tell you? What did it communicate to you the first time you tasted alcohol? For I'd say 99% of the people who have tried it, it was probably a taste of disgust. It was probably a signal, a communication of, oh, I don't want to drink this. Now, everything that comes along with alcohol, whether it be the pulling down some of your walls, things of this nature, you know what I'm saying? Tanya said, yuck. Yeah, exactly. Right? Like, we have become addicted to those of us who do drink alcohol. We've become addicted to the response that that our body, that our personality gives when it comes to drinking alcohol and the social aspect of it. But your body is immediately communicating with you and letting you know that you're not supposed to drink this because it is not satiating. Now, over time, things change, right? Your body adapts to certain things because from a neurotransmitter standpoint, from a neurological standpoint, you associate the taste of alcohol with what goes along with it. So you become accustomed to the taste of beer or the taste of wine or the taste of liquor based on everything, the social aspects that come along with it, or maybe the personality changes or behavior changes that come along with it. But your body is immediately communicating with you and letting you know that, well, I'm not supposed to be drinking this, right? So when you start to listen to your body, these choices become a lot easier. I mean, think of spicy food. And I know a lot of us love spicy food, and I'm guilty of liking spicy food once in a while. Now, I don't like it nearly as much now as I did, let's say, 5 years ago. But once again, that is your palate, that is your taste buds letting you know right up front that, okay, this food is too spicy for me. It is too hot for me. I should not be eating it. Because remember, there's only two sides of chemistry. There's duality in everything. And when you're eating something spicy that your tongue, your taste buds are already immediately telling you, I don't need to be ingesting this. Think about what's happening inside your body when that, whatever it may be, whether it be jalapenos or it be, spicy curry powder, whatever the case may be, right? Like whatever you're ingesting, the chili powder, whatever, that's happening in your body as well. And that's throwing things out of balance. But up front, your tongue, your taste buds, your senses, your body is telling you, I'm not supposed to be ingesting this. But once again, we become accustomed to things, mostly from a cultural perspective, sometimes from a social perspective, that this is the way it's supposed to be. So your body starts to build up a tolerance for it. So maybe it's not as hot as it was, and you get addicted to whatever flavor that is. And that's kind of how it becomes what it is. But at the beginning stages, your body is telling you right up front, this isn't what I'm supposed to be eating. Sour stuff, bitter stuff. It's the same concept. When you eat something sour, when you eat something bitter, that's your taste buds telling you, I'm not supposed to be ingesting this, right? But we become conditioned, we become accustomed to those things and maybe start to develop a liking to some of those things. And the easiest way to test this would be on a baby. Right? If you get a baby, a toddler, obviously of age to where they're ready to ingest things like this, not a newborn, right? And you give them something sweet, like let's say, an apple or a puree, apple puree or something, something that they can actually ingest, or if they can have teeth, an apple, whatever, or an orange. And then you give them something bitter or something sour, they're going to give you the reaction of the body. They're going to communicate to you very quickly on which one is satiating to them and which one is not. Right? So that right there tells you that right there is a snapshot of what nature provides for you. That is without any type of propaganda. That is without any type of conditioning, any type of programming. A baby will let you know exactly what we as a human species are supposed to eat because their body is communicating with no outside filters, with no environmental factors, with no social factors, just 100% purity. I mean, when you get past taste, because the taste is the most obvious thing. You think about all the things you eat. You know, if you were to eat let's say, a raw piece of meat, right? Probably not too satiating, you know, not cooked at all, right? Not satiating. We have to cook it, we have to season it, we have to put ingredients on it. You have to do all these different things to make that steak taste good, right? And then we get addicted to the salt. But I tell you this, if you give salt to a baby, if you give garlic to a baby, you give any of those things to a baby, they're not going to choose that food. Their body is not going to give you the response of satiating, of satisfaction. You give them pure, raw fruit, they will. It's guaranteed. Let's move on to smell. I mean, think about smell for a second, right? Now we've been accustomed to, man, falling in love with the smell of bacon or the smell of French fries or whatever the case may be, right? Through years and years and years of the neurotransmitters working and kind of giving you that feeling of what it felt like when you tasted that and all the things that went along with it, right? But when it comes to what our senses and what our actual smell is developed for, it's developed for foods that are sweet. Excuse me, foods that are sweet. I've talked about before. If you're riding down the street and you see a dead animal on the side of the road, say maybe a dead pig, what's it gonna smell like to you? What's a dead cow gonna smell like to you? What's a dead chicken gonna smell like to you? All these things have to be adjusted and pampered and sprinkled with all this stuff to make it appealing to you. And it's only appealing when you put fire to it with oil and other aspects. So all these things have to happen for it to create an aroma that associates with your smelling sense. It's not naturally appealing to you from a smell perspective. You understand? This is your body communicating with you. Is your body letting you know, right? And then the eyes. When we talk about colors, and you'll see me talk about colors all the time. The way our visual perception is built naturally. It's three channels, and it is to be attracted to color, because as a species, we are meant to sort out fruit. So think about it. If you're walking in nature, right, there's so many colors to nature, right? But when you think about the sky, when you think about the earth, sky blue, earth green, those are kind of some, and then you got some browns mixed in there. What stands out more than anything? The colors of fruit. And that's why our visual perception is built that way, naturally, from a nature's perspective. So we can sort out fruit, because that is what is the most beneficial to us as a species. When you look at meat-eating animals, predators per se, they're colorblind. They don't see colors because color doesn't matter to them. Because the prey that they are feasting upon, color has no aspect to that. There's no differentiating aspect to color when it comes to the prey they want to eat. If it did, then they would have that from a visual perspective, but they don't. Same thing with pure herbivores. They don't need that because they're eating basically 1 to 2 colors: green, maybe some brown, right? Possibly some yellow. But for us, our visual perspective, our visual spectrum is attracted to color. And what foods are the most vibrant? Those are fruits. Like, your body is communicating with you. Understand what you are attracted to from a visual standpoint, from a taste standpoint, from a smell standpoint, right? So that's what I'm talking about when I talk about your body actually communicates with you. Now, here's what happens is, like, we build up these tolerances. Like, sometimes you'll hear about, like, for instance, lactose intolerance. Like, my entire life, I was told that I'm lactose intolerant. My entire life. Got to get a sip of my juice real quick, everybody. And, honestly, before I was obviously educated on the fact, like, I kind of took that as like a negative thing. I had insecurities about it. Like, oh, why can't I just eat any type of dairy product I want to, but other people can. Or when I would and it wouldn't make me feel good, people in my family would make fun of me and stuff. Oh, I told you you're lactose intolerant, blah, 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 blah. All those different things, right? So what does that truly mean, lactose intolerance? The truth is we are all lactose intolerant. That is just like my body communicates with me much stronger than other people's bodies. And there's reasons for that. And the reason for that is disposition. Like throughout generations and generations, we've all developed different dispositions within our body. And for me, it's lactose intolerance, right? Or that's what they call it, lactose intolerance. I'm just more sensitive to lactose in my body than other people. But the truth is, we are all lactose intolerant. We just can all, I shouldn't say, we are all, our body is not built for lactose, is a better way to say it. Others have just built up a tolerance over time versus me. It's no different than alcohol. Like I could go to the bar right now and I probably have one or two beers or maybe one or two glasses of wine and I'd be pretty tipsy because I don't drink, right? But there could be somebody else that can come there and have a whole bottle and they be good. That's because they built up that tolerance. Now, through generations, the lactose intolerance has been built up for generations. Like if you look from a cultural perspective, 90% of Asians are lactose intolerant. 50% of Africans and Hispanics are lactose intolerant. When you look at people with European descension, it's roughly 10% lactose intolerant. And that goes all the way back to migration. And I'm not going to bore all you guys with that. You know what I'm saying? But if you just look at it from a lineage standpoint, right? You look at Asians and you look at Africans and then you look at their terrain of where they live and what the majority of things that they've eaten throughout the years, it's not a lot of dairy products. So they have not built up that tolerance throughout generations and generations and generations. When you migrate farther north to European, to the upper Asian aspects like Russia and things of that nature, where they had no choice but to consume such. And you'll see that that's the main reason that they are not as much lactose intolerant. But like I said, I'm not going to go too deep into that. The main point is we are all like, lactose is toxic to all of us. Others just can tolerate it more than others. And that's based on different dispositions. It's no different than it's gluten-free. Gluten is not good for anybody. Do not get it twisted. It is not good for anybody. Others are more sensitive to it than others because their tolerance has not been built up through generations and generations for whatever reasons. So when you looking at everything and kind of reverse it, because these things like lactose intolerance, like gluten-free intolerance or celiac disease or things of that nature are looked at as ailments, as diseases, but they're not. That's just your body communicating with you. If you eat something and then you have some massive bowel movements, right? Or what some would call irritable bowel syndrome. People never want to look at what they're actually eating to cause those things to happen. They just think they have an ailment, and that goes with the programming and conditioning of the medical society today. If you eat something and you have massive bowel movements, you have issues or things that make you, or you end up constipated, right? That's your body communicating with you. That's your body telling you that systemically something is wrong based on what you're feeding it. I am someone as well who has dealt with what people would call irritable bowel syndrome almost my entire life. But when I switched my diet and when I went fruit dominant, I don't have those issues unless I eat outside of our natural diet. And and this is where the awareness comes in, because I have pinpointed it down to the T. I have an app. This might be TMI for some of y'all, but hey, look, I'm giving you all of me, right? I'm giving you all of me. I keep track of every single time I have a bowel movement. And I put notes on when I don't, if there's a certain day that I don't, or a certain day it's not a normal bowel movement. And every single time it's associated with me eating something outside of the natural diet. Every single time. So they have created these quote unquote diseases like irritable bowel syndrome to make people feel like there's something wrong with them. No, there is nothing wrong with you. Nothing at all. It's just your body's communicating with you and you're just not aware of that. So you think you have a problem. You think there's certain pills you need to take. You think there's, surgeries you need to do, colonoscopy, all these different things to pinpoint what's wrong with my stomach because it's not operating like everybody else's stomach when it's just your body communicating and letting you know, look, you're just not putting in the right fuel. Plain and simple. Like if you got a Mercedes and you're giving it regular unleaded fuel, probably not going to operate as well as if it had premium. We need premium, and we're not giving ourselves premium, and we're suffering for it. It can really be that simple. It's the same thing as sun exposure. There's a billion-dollar industry called sunscreen, and it has basically influenced us and conditioned us to think that before we get in the sun, we need to lather up so the sun doesn't burn us or doesn't cause cancer or whatever the case may be. When the sun is the most energy fulfilling entity this planet has. And we need sun exposure. But like everything else, there's tolerance. So if you've had sunscreen on your entire life, then if you didn't have sunscreen, you're probably going to get a sunburn pretty quick because you haven't built up a tolerance for the sun because you've been covering yourself your entire life. This is also what goes generationally. I mean, culturally, I should say, excuse me. Whereas fair-skinned individuals are going to suffer from more sunburn than darker individuals are. Right? There's the melanin aspect, of course, but it's also from the amount of exposure through generations and generations. So from a disposition standpoint, some are going to come into this world with more sensitive skin than others. But it's all about tolerance. That means if you go out in the sun for a while and you start to feel some of your skin burned, then maybe you should get out the sun for a while. Let your skin relax, settle on, and then come back out. And then you will, over time, build tolerance to that. It's a different concept, right? There's no financial aspect to that because sunscreen is a very wealthy, profitable business. Oh man, it's just the way it is. Your body temperature. You know, your body temperature is your body communicating with you. If you're too cold, you're too warm, things of that nature. That's another way of your body communicating with you. Right? Like we've been taught, like one of the misconceptions out there is to go into a sauna to sweat out, to detox your body, to get all the toxins out of your body because it's going to make you sweat. And yes, when you sweat, you do release toxins. But understand that when you are exposing yourself to that type of heat, your body is working overtime to regulate it back to a normal temperature. Just like if you go into freezing cold, you know, they got the cold therapy and things of that nature, right? Ice baths, stuff like that, which may have some short-term benefits in certain muscle areas and stuff like that. But understand how hard your body has to work to get it back to a regular temperature. Once again, this is your body communicating with you. It is too cold for me to be in. It is too hot for me to be in. Don't disregard. Do not take your body's communication for granted. For the overall health of yourself, these are things that your body is speaking to you directly I mean, the most direct way you possibly can. I mean, think of life and all the different things that we have to decipher and figure out. Oh, did this person mean this, or did they mean that? Or I read this post. I can't tell what the context is. Look, your body. It ain't about context with your body. It tells you straight up, yes or no. I like to keep things very basic, and your body keeps things very basic. All right. If you put in wireless earbuds and then for some reason you got a headache later on that day, that's a pretty direct response of what's going on, right? Like, listen to your body. Your body tells you everything it needs to know at all time. All right. A headache, number one, is going to give you a signal that there is some type of issue within your bodily system. Some type of issue. Because remember, your head, you're dealing with the nervous system, the neurological aspect, the communication system within the body. So there is some form of disruption, some form of unbalance within the body. And something may have sparked that, or it could be accumulation of things. But once you start listening to all of the different clues and communication pieces that your body's giving you, you'll start to eliminate a lot of those things. Plain and simple. So, I mean, all in all, look, listen to your body. Your body is going to tell you everything you need to know from a health standpoint. I don't know how many of you are familiar with iridology. I've had an iridology scan done for me just to kind of get an idea of what it was. This was a few years back, and it told me a lot about myself. Because what the eyes do is they give you a projection, a glimpse of what's going on inside from a disposition standpoint. And, you know, for me, there were some glaring weaknesses that I have. And I know I have to work harder. But it's so vital to have that information. To know, wow, you know, I have weak adrenal glands, which, look, I'm telling you guys right now, all of us have weak adrenal glands because we have just done so much damage to them throughout generations and generations. We have our adrenals going nuts. Adrenals is where your fight or flight comes from, and we've been in fight or flight mode for just generations, just the way life is every single day. The stress, the anxieties, all these different things. I mean, our emotions are just all over the place. You know, from a kidney standpoint, my kidneys, from a disposition standpoint, were weak. So I have to work extra hard, right? So these things are important to know. Now, I don't know enough about iridology to give an iridology report. But, you know, from studying Dr. Morse and hearing about it from some others, I see the benefits of iridology if you want to kind of see where you are from a disposition standpoint. Now, regardless of where you are from a disposition standpoint, the diet is the number one factor. So get your diet back on track, and a lot of those things are going to take care of themselves. It may take a little bit longer, and you may be wondering why it's taking longer. A lot of the reasons is because of the disposition. Because if I have, for instance, weak kidneys, right? So that means my filtration is not as strong as maybe the other person, this other person next to me. So this other person next to me might not have to work as hard to filter as much as I do. They may get their kidneys up to 100% in, I don't know about anything ever gets to 100%. Let's just say high quality in, you know, a year or two, where it might take me 5 to 10. But you got to start somewhere. It's all about meeting yourself where you're at and understanding where you're at. So those are just different tools. Like I said, learning how your body communicates with you. Like, share some, you know, if you're watching on a replay or watching live, Tanya, I appreciate you and all your contributions. Like, share some ways that your body communicates with you and that you're aware of it and that you're looking to make changes towards that. Because everything that happens, be aware, start thinking, you could journal it, you could keep track of it, whatever you want to do. But whenever something's happening within your body and you feel it or you sense it or you see it or you smell it, whatever the case may be aware of that and utilize that, because that's information, and information is energy. And that's how you get yourself on the path to a more healthy lifestyle. So I do appreciate all of you guys watching. Like I said, hit that subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube in your lower right-hand corner. let's see, what do we got going on? Right now, we have my dietary evaluation, the E.A.T Optima scale on the eatcoach.com. It's 99 bucks. You basically track your food for 5 to 7 days, submit it to me, and then I'm going to put it through the Optima scale to shoot you out scores that are going to keep track. That's basically going to track your macro ratios, which is basically your nutrition, your alkaline acidity balance, as well as your digestive burden. That right there, that score is going to really give you an idea of where you're at. Included in that, you get a full evaluation, 15 pages of just tips, risks associated with your current diet, an overall summary of your overall diet, and just tools that are going to help you moving forward, getting on the path to health. So you can get that at theeatcoach.com. Any questions, reach out to me. You can always send me an email, rlmelpica at theeatcoach.com as well. We just had our retreat a couple weeks ago. It was amazing. Early 2024, and we have another one coming up in November at Surfside Beach in South Carolina, about 15-20 minutes from Myrtle Beach. Absolutely beautiful location. We're going to have just an amazing event there. If you want to, if you want to meet me, you want to talk to me, I'm going to have some one-on-one time there. Probably have some form of presentation as well when it comes to natural health and diet. So appreciate all of you. Thank you, Tanya. Thank you. Yes, information is power. And just keep listening to your body. Look, Tanya, you're gluten. Yeah, you got allergic to gluten. So, but see, it's not an allergy. Just understand, it's not an allergy. Like your body, nobody's body is supposed to have gluten. Just understand that. You're just more sensitive. And that's just your body being better at communicating it with you. So it's beautiful that you're on this path. And I love the